Here's a story. At 5 months old, a doctor's visit reveals you had been vaginally penetrated. By the age of 4, your mother finds her boyfriend in between your legs. And at age 5, your female cousin forces you to perform oral sex on her and urinates in your mouth. At the age of 13, you start dating a 19-year-old, but after your mother finds out, she calls the police. He breaks up with you, calls you crazy, and never talks to you again. Heartbroken, feeling like you lost the love of your life, you tell yourself you're going to go look for a boyfriend. You find a short skirt, a tight shirt, and at 13 years old, you walk outside and sleep with 7 men. And this is only the beginning of your story. Trappin Anonymous. What was going on in your mind?
The sex, I mean, it felt good.
Yeah. What's good? My name is Chris Downs. This is Trappin Anonymous. Welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to everybody hoping to keeping the movement moving. We really do appreciate you. If you have a story, you're sitting there watching a show week after week, month after month. It's been a year, 2 years, and you're like, I want to tell my story. Please DM me at Trappin Anonymous. Send me an email, trappinanonymous@gmail.com. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, the TikTok. The community is here. It's here. It's growing. It's building, and that's all thanks to you all. Getting these stories to you is my main priority, and it's been that way for a while. So let's just keep it going. Do remember the stories that you hear reflect real life. They're here to educate. They're here to inform, and hopefully keep your little homie off the streets. My name is Krystina Jones. Trappin Anonymous. Whoa. Oh. Let's get it. I would like to start with your name and why your story is important.
My name is Krystina Jones. And I feel like my story is important because I want others to know that they can be redeemed and recover from anything.
Okay. Walk me through the day you lost your virginity.
So, age 14, I made up in my mind that I wanted to find a boyfriend. So I was like, let me just put on something real tight, real slutty looking or whatever, and walk the streets. I snuck out. My dad, he worked at night, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And my mother, she went to bed 9 p.m. every night. So that was one of the nights that I figured out that I wanted to go out and look for a boyfriend. We lived near a park called Charles Park down in St. Petersburg, Florida. And that's where I started walking. And I heard a spitting sound. It was a guy standing at the park next to his car. He had a Cutlass Supreme. And when he asked me to come towards him, I went towards him. We just started talking. And he asked me if I was a twerker. I was like, I don't know what a twerker is. I thought a twerker was like a stripper or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm not a twerker. Then he asked me my name. He asked me my age. I told him, I said, my name is Krystina. I'm 14. And he just was like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not 14. I guess because I looked older. After that, he got up a little bit closer to me and he put his hands in between my legs. I was wearing a short skirt, so he was able to do that. And I let him do it, because I felt like if this is what it's going to take to get a boyfriend, I was like, okay. So he did that. Once he did that, he asked me to get in the car and holler at his homeboy. His guy friend was already sitting in his car, but he was sitting in the driver's seat. So I got in the car, and immediately I ended up taking my underwear off and I put them underneath the seat because I knew in my mind that we were probably going to have sex. And I thought that's what, I needed to do to get ready. I get into the car. It's a guy sitting in the front seat, big guy, big black guy. And he asked me the same thing. He was like, what's your name? Where are you from? How old are you? I said, my name is Krystina and I'm 14. So then that's when he was like, okay, lean back. So I leaned back against the door. He asked me to put one leg behind the steering wheel and my other leg behind the driver's seat. And then that's how we had sex. Once I had sex with him, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, this is cool, Once I had sex with him, then that's when the first guy who who I talked to, who was standing by the car. That's when he came, got into the car, and then he was like, get in the back seat. He got in the back seat, he stripped butt naked, like took all his clothes off. I got in the back seat with him, I had sex with him. So I was thinking, okay, well, this must be the last guy. So as I'm getting ready to get out of the car, it's a two-door car. So I'm pushing the seat in front of me to like get out. All of a sudden, the guy, tall, slim, black guy, he come walking up, and he began to push me back into the car. He was like, it's my turn. So I was like, okay. So I ended up getting back in the back seat, had sex with him. Then I thought, well, okay, that's number 3. So I'm done. So then once he was done, he got out the car, and another guy got in, tall, dark skinned, he had long locks, had sex with him. And then after I had sex with him, he was like, can we do this again, like once you're done? And I was like, do what again? He was talking about have sex again. So I told him, yeah. And then after that, I ended up getting out the car, and I ended up walking away with both of the 2 last guys that I had sex with. Mm-hmm. So then once I did that, we ended up walking back towards where one of the guys lived, but we ended up stopping at a house that was next door to his. And then we had sex on the side of the house with those 2 guys. I had sex with those 2 guys. One of the guys, the one that was pushing me back into the car to say, hey, wait, it's my turn. He tried to have like anal sex with me, but it's just too painful. After I finished with them, I was like, you know what, I think it's time for me to go home. So I began to walk home, and then on my way walking home, another man had stopped me. So this was guy number 5. This guy, he stopped me, he was on a bicycle, he asked me the same thing, what's your name, how old are you? I was like, my name is Krystina, I'm 14. All of them were pretty much saying the same thing, they couldn't believe that I was 14, but it is what it is. So as we're walking to my house, because at this point, I'm about maybe 5 blocks over from where I live. So we're walking down the street. He's on his bicycle going really, really slow. He was telling me that I shouldn't be out that late, so that's why he wanted to walk me home. So as we're walking home, I thought in my mind, well, let me cut through an alley so he wouldn't really figure out where I live or whatever. But in doing that, that gave him an opportunity to have sex with me too. Mm. So after the 5th guy, I ended up going home, got in the shower. I was getting ready for school. I didn't sleep that night, and neither did I sleep the other nights following. So.
Wow. And this is what you thought to be your introduction, not only to sex, but to finding a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. 14 years old.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's just grown men.
Grown men, yeah.
Inside of a child. Mm-hmm. Is it painful? What's going through your mind?
I don't remember it being painful, but I do remember getting home, getting in the shower, and me washing up and there being blood on my washcloth. Mm. But I was like, if that's what it takes to get a boyfriend, like I was cool with it. But I don't remember being in pain. Maybe just because of the friction or penetration, I don't know.
As it was going on, what was going on in your mind?
The bleeding or the sex?
The sex.
The sex, I mean, it felt good. Yeah. The tension felt good, There are things that happened before that made me go out there.
I think that's so interesting to point out, right? Because it has such a bad stigma attached to it when it comes to sleeping with multiple people, yeah. Or just even just being young, right. Being a child, being a baby, and getting raped, right? Statutory rape,
yeah,
by these grown men, and you not being able to consent, right, as a child. Like when you think about not being able to consent as a child, mm-hmm. because you don't really know any better. What do you think about that? Are you able to consent as a child?
That's tough. According to the law, no. But I say in like one of my pieces, because I do spoken word and poetry, I say that I was consensually gang raped beginning at the age of 14. And then shortly after that, I became a sex fiend. So I can't, again, I don't think that it was appropriate. Of course, being an adult and seeing the things that I did and with the men that I did it with, that's completely inappropriate. Mm-hmm. So the age of consent is like, I can't really answer that. It's still inappropriate. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to make light of this issue because there's some people that have really been through some tragic things.
Mm-hmm. Were you drunk? Were you high? Were you on drugs? Like, what, or was
No, no, not this particular night.
Right.
No.
Did you grow up insecure?
I'm not really sure if insecurity had a big part in it, because it was like I was always introduced to sex. It just seemed like I attracted sex or sexual advances and things like that.
You told me that, because I asked, were you inviting to these guys?
Absolutely. Yeah. Most of them, yeah.
Can you describe to me what that sounds like, feels like, looks like?
At age 14?
Yeah.
Okay. So the night that I decided to sneak out, I made sure that I put on something that was extremely seductive, something that because my mama would be like, that's too tight on your behind, either you put something on long over it or you need to change your outfit. So I made sure that I found the most tightest outfit that I could find, tight on my breast, tight on my bottom, because I know that's what usually would attract guys to me. So that's what I did, and every night that I would go out, I would make sure I find like the sluttiest outfit that I could possibly find, just so I could have sex.
And when it came to actual verbal interaction, were you telling them, hey, this is what I want to do? Or were you just sort of like, just inviting, I guess? I don't know how to say it.
I mean, I just went with the flow. I wasn't going up to guys saying, hey, let's have sex. I wasn't doing that. It was just, I already knew what time it was, whether they picked me up or whatever.
I guess it doesn't take much to have sex with a guy.
No, no.
Trying to make light of the situation. I mean, but it's tragic.
Yeah,
it's tragic.
It is.
So when you get home, is this like bloodthirst to do it again, or were you like just completely turned off by it? What was going on here?
No. Just like I said in the piece, I became a sex fiend. So it was like, kind of like ditch the whole boyfriend thing, and I could just have sex with whoever I want to have sex with. It was fun. It was an adrenaline rush. And because I know we'll probably discuss this later on about me getting high before, between age 5 to 11, but this was like a different type of high. And I loved it.
Yeah. What do you think about the way women dress? And that type of attention, because sort of is like, well, women should be able to wear whatever they want to wear, right? And guys need to stop being pigs, right? So what do you sort of say to that? Do you feel like women should be able to wear whatever they want to wear and feel safe and be comfortable? Or do you feel like some of those clothes, you were looking for trouble, and certain clothes carry a certain weight to it?
Yeah, I think what I've talked to you before about was the spirit behind it. What's the motive? What's your motive? And that was my motive. My motive was to have sex. And if you dress in a way that's objectify, like in an objective way, you're going to have people who are going to objectify your body. So now, like, I dress differently today, but I feel like a man is a man. God created y'all full of sperm for a reason, full of seed to put that out, and I think that is just, as a woman, and it's not even about being a Christian or not. It's just how we should, how I feel like we should present ourselves. Like, if I'm not coming here for sex or whatever, then I need to make sure I cover myself up.
When do you go back outside?
When do I go back outside? Oh, when I was 14? Probably a couple days after that. My dad, with him working 12-hour shifts overnight, that meant I couldn't go out every single night. It'd be like maybe like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday, Monday. It's just it varied. The nights varied because of his work schedule.
What was that second time out like? Did you run into like the same guys? Was it new guys? What was going on?
I went back to see the same guys because that was what they told me that first night. They was like, make sure you come back. I'm like, okay. So end up going back to that same area. And then I noticed like each night that I would go back, the crowd would grow larger. So here it is, I'm, talking about taking down, but having sex with guys in this back seat of this Cutlass Supreme, and then other guys were standing around the car just waiting their turn. They would be like banging on the window and saying, hey, it's my turn. So, but I was having fun.
Are they using condoms?
Somewhere. And very gross. And I laugh because it's not funny, but it's silly. But one particular night, these two guys, one of them didn't have a condom, so he shared his with the other guy, which is gross. Like he poured his sperm out, flipped it over, and the other guy used it. So I'm like, he just really wanted to wear a condom that night.
Yeah, because whatever he was avoiding, he probably got on the reverse end.
Right.
Wow. You told me that some nice guys use plastic bags.
Yeah, one particular night. Now, this wasn't part of the original guys, because like when I would go out and if I didn't see the original guys, I'll just keep walking until I got picked up. So end up getting with these guys. They were driving. They had a Jeep. There were about 3 men in this car. They picked me up and we went to this abandoned house. I remember going into the abandoned house. It didn't even have like the door. Like you can't just open the door like that. Just the door they just move it out the way and put it up. And I ended up going into this abandoned house. They had a mattress in there that was just on the floor. There wasn't no running water. There were no lights or anything like that. And had sex with the two guys. They had condoms. And then I was left with the last guy. The last guy didn't have a condom. So he was like, he seen a plastic bag on the floor and was like, maybe I could use this. So he did start out that way. But then he asked me, he was like, do you have anything or whatever? Like he was asking me like if I had AIDS or something like that. And I said, no. So then he took the bag off. That's crazy. That's crazy.
At any point, are you thinking, yo, this is nuts?
At that time, no. That's why that's where the again, I'm not trying to make light of the situation because it's very serious. But I laugh because I be thinking like, girl, you silly,
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was the most amount of guys that you have been with in a night?
One night, probably about 20.
How does that even, like, how does 20 guys even get together, right? Like, I'm trying to think, like, was this a party? Was it, or just word had gotten out about you so much that now it was like a main attraction almost?
Yeah, that, like Disney World or something, like crazy, yeah.
Everyone has to see this.
Right. So the crazy thing about all of this is that I was in the abstinence program. And at the abstinence program, that program, they would hold class right there at the same park where I would have sex with the guys inside the car. So whenever they would see me walking over to the program, they'll stop me and be like, hey, you coming back tonight? I'd be like, yeah, I'm coming back. Sometimes they would actually go by, this is at Child's Park Recreation Center. They would come by the window because they could see me through the glass window. They'll tap on that to get my attention and be like, because sometimes they want to have sex with me in the bathroom. So I would leave my abstinence program class and go have sex with them in the bathroom. I lived a double life. My parents, they had me in abstinence programs. They had me in True Love Waits, you know,
The church.
the church. I played basketball, you know, I did all of that.
Yeah. You told me about a time you walked into a hotel and it's just 10 men standing there with
Yeah.
camcorders.
Yeah.
And
That
talk to me about
that night was crazy because that was the night we got chased by the police. I made a call because the guy that I had called, I had met him just walking the streets, and he lived way across town. So he didn't interact with the guys in our neighborhood because they all were big time drug dealers, but they didn't interact with each other, you know. But anyway, I called him up, nicknamed Peanut. And I was like, what's up? What y'all doing or whatever? He was like, whatever you want to do. I'm like, okay. So he asked me, could he come pick me up? I said, yeah. So this was probably about 2:00 in the morning. Snuck out the house per usual. He had his friend or homeboy or whatever was driving to come pick us up because Peanut didn't drive. He had people drive him. So dude who was driving the car, his name was Popcorn or nicknamed Popcorn. When they pulled up, Peanut got out of the car and then he pushed the seat up because they was also driving like one of them like classic cars or whatever. Pushed the seat up, and I remember seeing another girl in the car. She looked like she was about my age. And then Peanut, he ended up getting in the back seat and he sat in between us. And he told me, he was like, listen, we finna go pick up Tulu, one of the other homeboys. So I'm like, cool, you know. As we're driving, I want to say we got like maybe 10 minutes from my house, and all of a sudden I see the lights flashing, the police lights, and them telling the guy who was driving, like, you know, get out the car or whatever. But he didn't. He just put his foot on the gas and just kept going. Like, we hitting high speed, you know, very, very high speeds. We going in and out of like alleys and back ways and all that stuff, trying to like shake the police. We eventually shake the police. We went and picked up his homeboy Tulu. And we went to this place like an efficiency. Efficiency is more so like a motel that they've converted into an apartment. As I'm getting out, Popcorn tells Peanut that he's gonna go drop that other young lady off. And that's when, you know, I was telling you how our eyes met and different things like that. I wrote a letter to her in my book, so I want to say that. So anyway, Popcorn tell Peanut I'm finna go drop her off. And then when I go into the efficiency, there's about 10 guys, you know, some of them are naked. They're waiting for me to come in and have sex with them. This particular night, they didn't have like the old school camcorder, you know, nothing like fancy like this, you know, but more so like the Luke, you know, camera, whatever. So I had sex with those guys. They told me to get into certain positions so they could record me in different ways. But I think the craziest thing about that night was, as I was leaving, there was a cork board next to the door that had like runaway girls on there. So I feel like there's like people who just kind of pray or look for runaway girls to have sex with. But after I had sex with him that night, you know, Popcorn had came back and he took me home.
guys are standing there naked. Like this is borderline
Some of them were.
homosexual activity, right? Just standing there, you know, naked with a bunch of guys.
They would get naked in front of each other all the time. Even when we were outside, they would get naked.
Well,
That's crazy. But yeah.
these guys would be preying on women that were kidnapped. What's most interesting about everything that you tell me is how these drug dealers, most dangerous guys in the neighborhood, were sort of looking after you too, right? Like picking you up, dropping you off, you know, making sure that you were good.
Yeah.
Right? Not offering you drugs, not offering you liquor.
And well, I did have liquor one time.
Okay. Out of all these times, one time you get offered liquor. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what is fearful is that they were conscious that this was a kid, that this was a child, and they were also conscious of making sure you were okay.
Right.
Sort of speak to that dynamic. Like these guys were almost like your homies in a weird way. Yeah. That's how you speak about them anyway. That's what I'm...
I mean, they were cool. They were cool. It was inappropriate, But I didn't see it as that. I just seen it like these my sex buddies, my cut buddies, you know. That was it. But they made sure I got home. And they would look out for me. I mean, some of them. But then I feel like maybe one of the guys might have started getting paid because I moved from the backseat of the Cutlass to the garage bathroom. And so then guys, they would just stand there, wait their turn to come in one by one, sometimes two by two.
Did you ever get paid?
No, I didn't.
No financial gain?
No,
You told me you were just having fun.
I was just having fun.
The holiday season is here, and I know you're searching for that perfect gift. UncommonGoods.com, they have everything you need. Unique, handcrafted, homemade items that are searched from thousands and thousands of different people. They really take their time when they're looking for these gifts. If you want to be special this holiday season, if you want to choose something that you haven't chosen before, you're not going to get the same pair of socks that you always get, go to uncommongoods.com/trappin for that 15% off. uncommongoods.com/trappin for that 15% off. I've bought books, I've bought tents, I bought little things that you wouldn't commonly get everywhere else. With every purchase, they donate $1 to a nonprofit of your choice. They have donated over $3 million to date. Donate for a good cause. Donate to your everyday mom and pop person that is sitting home hustling, trying to get their trap off, right? This is the only way to go. uncommongoods.com. Support. uncommongoods.com/trappin for that 15% off, and make sure you tell them that I sent you. Let's get it. Many women say their fantasy is to be with two guys, but there's a stigma that's attached to it, right? For most men, of course, their fantasy is to be with two women, three women. You know, for a man to walk the streets and be able to sleep with whatever girl he wants is like a dream come true. For a woman to walk the streets and to sleep with any man she wants, it's considered a nightmare, right? And if we remove the age, which is the biggest part, if we remove the age, we can look at this situation and say men aren't that different from women in the sense that if we could just walk outside and have sex with whoever we wanted to, we would do it.
Okay.
Right? Or am I tripping? Right? Because I guess so many women have to have a mask when it comes to having sex, when it comes to, you know, being out, so they're not seen as promiscuous and, you know, all these things. So, I don't know. I just felt like at some point you were, like you were saying, you were just doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was offered, the idea was offered to me or told to me. And it was by a woman, not a woman. She was actually not too much older than me because we went to school together, went to high school. And she suggested that I become a cleanup woman. And I didn't know what a cleanup woman was. But I learned later on, you know, what a cleanup woman was.
What was it?
Basically, you know, if a guy's in a relationship, whether he's married or have a girlfriend, and if she's not having sex with him, you come in and you clean up. You have sex with him and get paid for that.
Okay.
It's an old school song. It's called The Cleanup Woman.
I think I know that song.
Yeah.
Did any guy ever come to you and be like, you know, psst, psst, you shouldn't be doing this? Like,
Yes.
I know this is crazy. It seemed like someone would come up to you with a conscience and just be like, stop.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah, there were a couple guys who did that, you know, but I mean, they were still having sex with me. They were still waiting their turn, you know. One guy in particular, he was very sweet, very sweet. And he would tell me, he was like, you know, these guys are way older than you. He was 18 at the time. We went to the same high school. But he was telling me, like, they don't really want to be with you for real. They just want to have sex with you. But you standing here and we in this backyard. What's the thing that's in the back when people have air conditions? The AC unit or whatever?
HVAC?
Or whatever it's called, yeah. So you watching your homeboy get naked and we having sex, and then I have sex with you afterwards. But he'll be like, you know, you shouldn't be out here. And then at school, you know, I had boys who would write me letters and, you know, just try to encourage me to not be out there.
And nothing worked.
At that time, no.
You told me that there were points where they would come to your door and knock on the window.
You talking about to my house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, long story short, I went out, walking the streets, wanted to have sex, and I was almost raped by this homeless guy. We stand in the middle of the street, like, dude was reeking of alcohol, and I remember him being homeless because he would always be asking for money at the corner store, I think like snacks or wherever it was. And dude, he's like pulling his penis out, pulling on my skirt, and we're in the middle of the street while this is happening. I started screaming. There's cars driving past, and this one particular car got so close to us where I was tapping on the windshield, and I'm like, help me, please. And dude just shoo me off. Eventually, somebody was like, hey, man, leave that girl alone. So he let me go, and he kept saying, I didn't hurt you. I didn't hurt you. I said, oh, I'm just like, just get off of me, you know? I'm crying, hysterical, but because I didn't have my fix that night, what I did was I picked up like a brick or like this big rock, and I was just saying, like, if he come back at me, I'll just bust his head open. But he eventually let me go, and he let me alone. And once he did that, there was a car pull up. One of the guys in the car, on the passenger side, we used to play basketball together. I used to do like AAU basketball, so we practiced with the boys and stuff at the park. And he was just like, what's up, you know? And I was like, okay. And went and had sex with them. But after that, I said, you know what? I'm not going out here no more because that was very scary.
Yeah.
So.
And these spots, it's almost like guys would be driving around at a certain time waiting for you to come outside.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the knocking. So after about like a week and a half or so, after I decided I wasn't going to walk the streets no more, I'm laying in my bed. And then this is around the time between 11 and 12 that I usually go out. And I hear a knock at my window. And it scared me because I'm like, who knocked on my window? So I look out the window and I see the group of the original guys that I first started having sex with, and, you know, and this particular night, it had to be like maybe 10 or 12 guys standing out, just kind of waiting. And when I opened the blind to see, dude was like, open the window. He's telling me to open the window. And at this point, I had never snuck boys into my parents' house. Like I never thought about doing that. Plus, I didn't want to get in trouble. So I ended up closing the blinds back and got into bed and pretending like I was asleep. But he kept knocking. And I'm like, well, I don't want my parents, like my mom to hear, my sister to hear somebody knocking at the window. So I had went back to the window. I opened the window a little bit, and he was asking me, can he come in? I told him no initially, but then he kept asking me. And he kept knocking, like tapping on the window. Even though I didn't pull it up, it's like he's trying to make noise. So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't know if it's like that here, but I know in Chicago they have where you can just easily lift the screen. But in Florida, you gotta really work it out. And that's what he did. He was able to work the screen, take the screen out, and then come in through the window. And then I started having sex with those guys.
This is so much.
It's a crazy story.
You said you didn't get your fix that night after almost being raped. So you had to keep going. Was there like a limit that you had to have, like a quota that you had to have? Was it like you had to be with at least one guy or 5 guys before you said, okay, let me head back home?
No, it wasn't really like a quota. I just want to have sex.
So it could be one guy and you'd be fine.
Yeah, it could have been one guy.
In school, I'm assuming you're getting this reputation now, the girls that is sleeping around.
Yeah.
Sleeping with girls' boyfriends, guys that girls want to be with. I could assume that they would start hating you. Did that happen?
I knew they weren't my friends, but they always wanted to know what was going on. And I love to brag about it, you know, and I'll be like, y'all ain't have sex yet? Y'all ain't, you know, just... It was crazy. It was crazy.
You told me your mom sees you in the car, in the act, as these guys are taking turns, pulls you out the car. What happened?
Well, with this situation, my parents had already they found out about me walking the streets and sleeping with multiple guys. They found out about the drug dealers coming in and out of their house and stuff like that. So this was after a police report had already been filed against those guys, and then this was probably about a month or two afterwards. The guys, because they would come to my school, they would look for me at my school. I mean, the boys that I was having sex with or wanted to have sex with me at school, they would come to my locker. But the older men would drive by, the grown men would drive by.
And there were police reports.
Yeah, it was already reported. And those guys in particular were already questioned by the police. You know, so it's like, it was just, you know, they see me walking. I really wasn't supposed to be walking home because my parents, they pick me up and take me to school. But this particular day, I was supposed to be in after school suspension. But I was like, you know, I'm gonna buck the system and I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna walk home. Started walking with one of my so-called friends at the time. And what she told me was that it bothered me later on, but I tried to pretend like it didn't bother me at that point. But what she said to me, she said, don't be walking with me. I don't want other people to think that we hoes too. So, you know, and then that was right after she said that, the guys had stopped their car and was like, you know, what's up, you know? So I get in the car, we go pull over to the place where we were having sex. By this time, the guy whose car it was, that the Cutlass Supreme, it was like tan and brown, but he had got it painted by this time. I don't know if he was just trying to disguise himself from the police, but we went to the same spot. I had sex with the first two guys. I was getting ready to have sex with a third guy, and then I start hearing all this commotion. Dark tinted windows, so my mama couldn't see me. Someone had called her, and I found out later on it was a classmate, because I think by this time my parents were trying to do everything they could do to help their daughter. So my mom made sure certain people in the neighborhood had her phone number. So one of my classmates called her and was telling her that I was in a car with those guys. So her and my stepdad pulled up. My mom jumped out. She had a golf club and she was swinging it. The guy who owned the car, he was standing like just kind of resting against the, the trunk. And my mom was saying like, where's my daughter? He was like, I don't know where your daughter at, man. And I'm like sitting back there like, I'm panicking. My heart's racing because I'm like, I'm about to get in trouble. So, and I don't know, maybe my mom came at the right time, because who knows what this guy had that I was getting ready to have sex with. But anyway, I just think about God's grace in the middle of all of this. But she's swinging and she's like, listen, if you don't tell me where my daughter at, I'm gonna bust you up. I'm gonna bust these lights out. I'm gonna do all that. My stepdad's trying to hold her back. Eventually, he just telling me I need to get out of this car. So he opened the door. I get out the back seat, get into my mom's car. And my mom, she was just broken because she quit her job and everything just to try to provide me with the help that I needed. And she's thinking that I'm in after school suspension, but she get that phone call. So immediately she go looking for me. Yeah.
I can't imagine what your mother had to endure. You know, thinking as a parent to see their child heading down this path and care, right? She cared.
Oh yeah.
Your teachers, you was a straight A student.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, you know, you weren't giving trouble in school in that sense, and I think that's why a lot of people didn't give up on you. That potential that you had, because if you were just a bad kid that no one, oh yeah, that's just so and so, they're not going to be nothing in life. No, people knew that you were going to be something in life.
Yeah, one of my mentors, she told me when I was 14. She was like, she said, you're going to be talking to other girls about this at your age. Like, that's your age. And at that time, I'm like, whatever. You know, I just want to be done with the meeting so I can go have sex.
We did some digging.
Yeah.
And police reports.
Yeah.
How long did this last for? This whole stint of just outside walking the streets, Going here, going there, being with this guy, being with that guy. How long did that last?
The walk in the streets, when I was 14, about maybe 6 months, and then I went back out when I was 16. But then I stopped again.
They said that there was so much different guys, semen inside of you. Mm-hmm. It probably didn't even make sense to try to prosecute anybody.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it too is, they had threatened to arrest me if I kept having sex with these guys.
You were the.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Another thing we uncovered as we were digging through your past is that at 14 wasn't the day you lost your virginity. Mm-mm. When was the day you lost your virginity?
I was 13. 13, and it was in a bathroom near the pool at a Comfort Inn at a hotel. And that's what happened. Through preparing for this interview, there was a lot of things I discovered, pulling police reports and things like that. And I didn't even know that this incident was recorded, but it was. So 13, 8th grade, my aunt's brother-in-law, this is a particular time where my aunt, they all lived out of the country. So whenever they would come to the United States, then that's when people would kind of gravitate towards whatever state they were in just to visit. And this was a time that we visited with each other. And her in-laws came, and it was her brother-in-law who started to fondle me. We went to a theme park called Busch Gardens. We took a liking to me. He was 19, I was 13. Asked me, can I come back to their hotel to get in the pool? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get in the pool. But then that's when the fondling began even more at the pool and then in the jacuzzi. Like, he was singing to me and everything. He was trying to put his toes in my vagina, like just weird stuff. And then I remember getting out of the jacuzzi and going to the bathroom, and he followed me to the bathroom. And then that's when I actually lost my virginity. I think so let me kind of back up a little bit. So when my parents found out, the way my parents found out that I had sex with him, my mother found a letter in my purse because he lived in a different state. So like I said, everybody just went to Florida to visit. So my mother was going through my purse one day. She found a letter addressed to him. I had put a condom in the letter. I stole a banana flavored condom from Walgreens, and I opened the condom, not realizing the lubricant was going to get all over everything. And my mom, she read the nasty letter. She contacted him, or attempted to contact him, but she spoke to his father. He said nothing ever happened. But as I began to read the police reports, that's when I'm looking at my statements and things that I was saying. I was planning to run away with him. I loved him. I thought we were in a relationship together. I would call him. I would sneak and call him every night after the incident. There are things that I remember saying. We had sex, but I don't remember it being enjoyable. I remember it being very painful. But I think that because I was just so hurt emotionally, that trauma, it just kind of blocked that out. And I said, you know what? As soon as I hit age 14, a couple months later, 9th grade, that's when I say, you know what, I'm gonna go find a boyfriend. So it's like, it's been preparing for this interview, I'm putting together a lot of pieces.
You going outside was get back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the people be like, I'm gonna get my lick back. Because at the time too, my role models, not in person, but like celebrity role models was like Trina, and Kaya, My Neck, My Back, those are things that I was listening to. And sometimes like sneaking and listening to that stuff, like the nastier the better. And that stuff, it plays in your subconscious,
All of your story, as we're uncovering it, we found some disturbing details about when the sexual abuse started.
Oh yeah.
What did we discover?
So you had asked me a question. You asked me, did my mom ever feel hopeless? So while you were texting me that, I reached, my mom was calling me. She called me on the phone. I said, Mama, when I was going through all that stuff, did you ever feel hopeless or anything like that, or helpless? And she said, yeah, especially when I found out that someone had already been penetrating you when I was between the age of 2 and 3. So it all came back together. It all made sense, the burning, because I remember telling my mom how bad it burned between my legs. Yeah. So around this time, because my parents, they were young. My parents were teenagers when they had me. My mom was, 17 when I was born. My dad was 16. And I would spend a lot of time over at my dad's house. They weren't together, but I would spend time with his family. There were always a lot of people. But I remember just telling my mom, like, I'm burning. Every time I would go to the bathroom, I was burning. So my mother ended up taking me to go get examined by the doctor. I remember the bright lights. I remember seeing a psychiatrist, having to look at shapes and sizes of different things. And I remember my mom not allowing me to be around my dad's family for several years.
At 5, your cousin.
At 5, yeah. Yeah, my cousin. But it's like it followed me, because age 4, my mom found a man between my legs, licking me and touching me.
She found him doing that?
Yeah, because long day, ended up going back home. We all ended up laying in the same bed. It was my mom's male friend at the time. She woke up and she seen him licking and touching me. She kept a machete under her bed. So she grabbed the machete and she went to like swing at him, but she missed him. He ran out the door. We didn't have a phone and stuff like that. So we went to the nearest payphone. I believe that's when my mom called the police. But that was that. Age 5, we moved in with some relatives. My mom was just going through a lot. My older cousins introduced me to pornography at age 5. Then eventually, that's when one of my older cousins, she was like maybe 12 at the time. That's when she began to have sex with me. And she would force me to perform sexual acts on her, like oral sex and just all kinds of stuff. Whatever we seen on those porn flicks back in the day, it was the VHS tapes, magazines, whatever it was. Yeah.
You told me there was a time she urinated in your mouth.
Yeah. Very, very humiliating. Yeah. She, because we would like just kind of play little games with each other. And this particular time we were over at my great grandmother's house and went into one of the rooms, because my grandmother had this huge house, so many bedrooms. We went into one of the rooms and I remember my cousin having me lay down and getting on top of my face, like she riding my face. I'm a 5-year-old girl, and just pinning me down and pissing in my mouth. I still remember what she tastes like. I remember the urine taste. I remember what she tastes like, because that's just what we did.
As you're talking about your mother and her hardship, was it difficult? Did she have trouble raising you? Did she not have money? Did she not have a job? Did she not have sort of a lot of resources to make sure that you were okay?
I mean, she was a single mom for like the first 7 years of my life, and then she got married to my stepdad. But she did the best that she could. She would try to get me help. She always called the police. She always made police reports. I just wish that the men in my life would have took the initiative as well.
But the resources weren't there.
It was resources like Suncoast Medical Center or Suncoast Mental Health.
Well, I mean, for like money and places to stay, and it sounds like y'all were moving around. You were living with this person, living with that person.
Well, not multiple times of moving it. Just that one time we moved in with my aunt.
Got you.
Yeah.
Where's your father?
My dad. When I was 3, my dad ended up becoming highly addicted to crack cocaine. He was 19 at the time.
Wow.
Because, like, people don't ask. They don't be asking, like, well, where's your daddy? Why that's major.
What is your father and yours relationship like today?
We have a really good relationship. Yeah, that's my dog. I love him.
You're an author,
Yes.
poet, wife. Talk to me about the things that's going on in your life now and how you were able to transcend from all of this trauma.
So it took, my parents, they did get me into a lot of different programs and things like that. They did try the counseling thing. That didn't work. But age 15 is when I surrendered my life. I surrendered my life to the Lord. And it's like everything changed. The conviction hit different, So when I did try to go back and walk the streets at 16, it wouldn't stick, because I felt like I was breaking God's heart, and I didn't want to do that. I continued in school. My parents, they were going to take me out and try to get me into a military school, but that we didn't have the money for. But they still stayed on top of me with making sure I got help. I started working. That can kind of change my focus too, and I had to rebuild my parents had to rebuild trust in me, so I had to gain their trust again, and that's what helped. Graduated high school. I went to college. Now I'm a social worker. I do trauma-informed care therapy with individuals. The crazy thing about it is a lot of, because I've worked at the health department, I worked law enforcement, probation officer, drug court, all that stuff. And I've ran into a lot of children from the men that I had slept with. So.
What was that experience like?
It was different. Definitely. I remember one of the guys, because I had developed a work ready, job readiness program for youth. And I remember seeing one of the guys who would come in through the window. And seeing him, it took me back there just for a moment. But then understanding, I have a greater purpose. I'm going to help your baby get a job,
And when you run into these guys, I know many of them were drug dealers, so I'm assuming a lot of them died, went to jail, got shot.
Yeah.
When you see them now, what is it like, or if you do see them?
There's nothing really. I mean, there is one particular guy, like he still be trying to talk to me. But he had been trying to talk to me since I was 12. He just thought because I had a big booty and a pretty smile that he wanted to be with me. But I really don't, even relatives that I see today, it doesn't do anything. I really feel sorry for them, honestly.
Yeah. Lauryn Hill has this quote, it comes to a point where you realize the people kicking you are in more pain than you are. Do you ever miss that life? Do you ever miss going out there?
No. I'm terrified.
And it seemed like every man that was sent to protect you ended up betraying you in some way. Even your stepfather's, was it his cousin?
Yes, cousins.
Cousins.
Yeah.
These people that said, "Oh, let's help her off the streets."
Yeah, the same person who reported made the report to my dad saying, "Hey, the word on the street is she out here just giving it out or whatever, having sex." 2 years later, he was begging me for sex.
You don't have any children?
No, not biologically. I'm a bonus mom, stepmom.
Do you think that from the trauma of all of those guys at such an early age prohibited you from bearing children?
I'm not sure, but it's definitely been in the back of my head. I don't know if maybe the man who was the man, or maybe multiple men that was penetrating me at age 2 or 3. I don't know if that may have messed something up. But I mean, I'm still hopeful, know.
I mean, they robbed something from you so early.
Yeah.
And just started your life on just such a... Do you have any regrets?
No.
If you could go back, do it all again?
Without the consequences, maybe.
Yeah. Something you would tell your younger self?
I would tell my younger self, girl, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it. You're worth more. God has so much planned for you later on. That's what I would tell her. I would say, like, keep your head up. You're beautiful. You're worth it. Don't give it up. And tell a lot sooner. Tell a lot sooner, because I think that maybe if I would have said something a lot sooner, because my mom didn't know about some of those things until like years later.
My name is Krystina. This is Trappin Anonymous. Let's get it.
Okay.
Congratulations. Did it.
Thank you. I share my story only because I want to bring light or shed light to the issues of local human trafficking or sex trafficking. So even though I was walking the streets at night, sneaking out, my parents had no idea that I was having sex with multiple sex partners, sometimes 2 men, sometimes 20. And the park that I would come to was this park here. They would ask me to come back. So whenever my dad would go to work, that's when I came out. That's when I snuck out of the house. And I would come here. This is the actual recreation center, Child Park Recreation Center. And in this building, they had an abstinence program. So my parents had me in an abstinence program, again, not knowing that I was having sex, because the guys that I had started to, associate with, they started coming to this park. So they knew when to find me and where to find me, because I would come here for my abstinence classes. They would literally stand outside the window. They've remodeled this, but they would stand outside the window and they would knock on the window to get my attention. And then they would come inside also and knock on the window to get my attention, to tell me, hey, come back tonight. Or they would find places like this shed over here. And even though it's out in the open, having sex over there by the shed or behind the shed. Having sex over here at the playground. In random spots. Sometimes I would just be out here at the park. They've also remodeled the playground as well. So it definitely don't look like how it was before. But this is it. Like, a predator don't care about your age. A predator doesn't care about their locations. A predator just doesn't care. But this is where I was. So to the parents, guardians, please keep an eye out on your children. Please keep an eye out on your children, because you never know who's stalking them, who's looking for them. Even though, I came out here, but they knew that I was 14 because I told them my age. They knew that I was a baby. Oh, here go my sister, y'all. Let me go ahead and get in this car. But yes, Krystina Jones story, suppressed wounds, redemption and recovery, when suppressed wounds begin to heal.